We're not that. You have to find that within yourself. It's not until after you find that within yourself that things really start to change in your world. And if enough people do that, then enough people come outside to more pleasant things. That's where it goes. I love what he does.
How you gonna win if you ain't right within?
There's just a lot of absolute nonsense. Ain't no bangers on here. Like, come on, man, on here go a bunch of this conscious preachy shit.
Welcome to the Any Last Words pod. My name is Keon, aka Almighty the DJ.
And my name is Earl Lonnie Hooks. A very special thanks to everybody that will be joining us today on SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple, as well as YouTube. And please do not forget to follow us at ALW Pod on Instagram. The God in me honors the God in each and every one of you. Keon, before we get into any of it, because we're clearly going to talk about Kendrick's album, right? You've listened to the entire thing now, right? And first of all, let me say that I'm happy. I'm happy that you did that.
Why?
Because I was going to come in here and talk about it anyway, and I was going to have to try to find a way to bring the words to life and speak about some of the ideals without you having listened to it. And it's because of what you called me and said the other day that you've never given him a real shot.
Oh, okay.
So that's why I thought that. So
I was about to ask you, like, you didn't think I was gonna listen to it?
No, absolutely not, because you don't listen to Kendrick. So I was like, I've been listening to him. I'm not like a huge old mixtape guy. I've listened to Section 80 probably once, and whatever was before that. No, I don't think I did. But
and just to clarify, I really only have ever listened to like the singles, you know what I'm saying? Like what's hot, what you would hear on the radio from Kendrick. But I've never really like jumped into, a full album of his. But I knew that I wanted to give this one a shot. I just think that, I don't know, maybe my brain is just doing something different these days. This is something that I've listened to. I feel like I've not necessarily gravitated away from trap music because I'm still bumping the trap. But over the years, I feel like I've just started to listen to more music, more conscious, mellow, less 808s, you know what I'm saying? Over the years. And I think I was just ready to give this album a try.
How was Future's album then?
I was in the whip. You know what I'm saying?
Do you as a Future listener, because you listen to pretty much all of his stuff.
Yeah, pretty much.
Do you see growth in what he does? And if so, how? Like, I don't
growth, know. I mean,
and him as a musician, it doesn't necessarily have to be him maturing as a man.
Okay.
Becoming a more conscious person. Just, do you see a maturity in his music?
Not, honestly, I don't know that I really have. A lot of it is about the same type of stuff. I'll fuck your bitch. I got racks. You know what I'm saying? He is starting to, I feel like, and he's done this on past albums before, but on his most recent album, I think it's I Never Liked You, which is a funny ass name for an album.
Right.
He's doing a little more vocalizing. And when I say that, I mean just kind of, a little, you know what I'm saying? A little. I feel like I didn't hear quite as much auto-tune on this album, though.
Okay.
So that might be something to talk about.
So he's singing more without auto-tune.
Yeah. Okay. That's. I feel like that's what I'm hearing.
How's that sound?
I mean, it's not bad. Okay. It's not bad. I feel like he's kind of gotten the hang of it.
Yeah.
But
hopefully he has like a singing coach. Like if you're a new age rapper, post Drake, post The Weeknd, even though Weeknd's not a rapper, but I just feel like you found you should start finding a way, if you are the type of singy, rappy type of artist, to just like pick up a coach. Like why not? Just like you don't have to become a
You can afford it.
Yeah, like you don't have to be Jennifer Hudson or Adele or like just if you're gonna be doing some of that stuff, just like why not?
Yeah. Just
to know how to like hold a note and do some cool stuff with his voice.
And he's got a lot of the Drake's got a couple features on there. He's always gonna have a Drake feature on there. Yeah. One person that I like on there is Thames. She sings. She's from like I think she's from like Africa or something like that. I'm sorry,
something like Africa.
I was gonna say Africa or maybe somewhere in the Caribbean, something like that. She has that her damn, why am I losing the word here?
But does it seem like she has like a Caribbean accent of some sort?
Some sort, something like that. Okay. But I like her, and she's on there. I think that's a good look for him. She has an islander feel about her. Yes, she has a very islandy feel about her.
Billie Eilish feel about her.
Oh, no.
I'm playing. That was a joke.
But yeah, I mean, I definitely like Future's new album. Okay. A lot of good music's come out recently. I listened to Pusha T's new album.
Oh, I still haven't gotten around.
Of course, he's
selling coke.
Yeah, he on there with the bricks.
Yes, of course.
But a lot of good music has dropped lately, and I've really been enjoying it actually.
That's funny because I haven't heard any of it aside from. Well, I can't say any because I'd say Theodore Wolgers, but that's a classical crossover artist.
Yeah, I don't know who that
is. Do you ever just like to listen to sounds, like just like not someone sing or rap, but just like
I've never really given it a try.
Like for instance, the song "Savior" interlude. There's just the interlude on the back half of Kendrick's album. Is Baby Keem by himself. That song is just violins and synths and a bunch of other shit going on. And I could listen to it without Baby Keem on it, even though I like the song. I like Baby Keem on it. And the way that he raps, I think is really unique. I think it's cool.
I
like his voice.
Do you think he raps similar to Kendrick?
Yeah, I think that Kendrick's a huge influence.
Okay, because I was about to say that.
I think he's sort of in that stage where we have to watch him as he gets older. Yeah. Like you got to see him break out and be himself. Like there were early times in Kendrick where you could hear a whole lot of Marshall Mathers and Dr. Dre. And so these are things that I hear, but I hear Eminem in early Kendrick along with some other stuff, like, cause whatever it is that you're influenced by, it's going to find its way to the forefront until you find a way of like carving your own true lane in what it is you do. Right. You got to find yourself and stuff. But you're going to sound like somebody at the very beginning. Right. Jimi Hendrix sounded like fucking Chuck Berry and stuff like that at the very, very, very beginning when he was but that was one of the types of people that he was going on the road with. Like he was going on the road with legends and people didn't even know about that. So it just takes a while for you to be able to break out and do your own thing. Okay. But yeah, Baby Keem on that song Savior, I could listen to that without his vocals on it. Just the instrumentation is wild. And that's one of the many reasons why I have the takes that I do about this album. Now, before, go ahead.
I was just going to say that this album, like as I've been listening to it, I feel like now I don't know if I'm gonna go to the tour because I know the tickets going to be a little crazy. Yeah. But I was like, this is the type of music that I would really want to hear live. You know what I'm saying? Because like I listen to Future, like sure I would. Honestly, I don't even know if I would ever go see Future live. You know what I'm saying? Just because I'm sorry to say this, but
it would depend on the ticket price.
What, for Future?
Yeah.
Well, honestly, that and it'd be a lot of hooligan niggas that listen to Kendrick. I mean, not Kendrick, to Future.
That's how you know we're getting older.
And
who's calling some niggas hooligans?
Yeah, I just don't know if I just want to really be in that atmosphere. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't mind bumping Future in the car because like that's the type of music like that's the shit I like to really listen to in the car. You know what I'm saying? That's the thumping, the bass, the headbangers. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know if I would ever go to a Future concert.
I feel you. I was just telling some people the other day the story about how Big Smokey J and Lamont, does that also came with us? Not Lamont, RJ. Came with us. I don't even know why I even tried to mask it.
Yeah.
I would only try to mask it if I was going to tell the first half of the story. Okay. But I'm not going to tell that side of the story. But that was hilarious too. Anyway, Big Smokey J, RJ, and I go out to DC to see, and this is how you know I'm just also not doing the same thing either.
Was this Fat Trail?
No. Oh. This was Juicy J and ASAP Ferg opening up for Juicy J.
Okay.
So that's what we were going out to see at the time. And Juicy J, well, that's for later. ASAP Ferg was opening for him. And we're all sitting out there in the crowd, it's whatever people that are drinking, are drinking, whatever. We're just waiting on these rappers to come out here. I think at that point in time, I was listening to like a decent bit of ASAP Ferg, so I was sort of excited he was opening, and I think Juicy J, Big Smokey J, and I were listening to quite a bit. And
What was that, like Blue Dreams and Lean or something back then?
I see. I couldn't have told you the album names. I don't know. Like it was probably, I don't know what was hot back then. Maybe Bands and Make Her Dance was hot at the time. Like who knows? Who knows? All the songs sounded the same. He had the same flow on all of them, but it was just at that time I was high. So like I was ready to go. But A$AP Ferg came out, and I want to say he got like two or three songs into the set. Maybe this was like the third song where this popped off, but it may have been Work. So like Work came on. Exactly. Put in work.
Yeah.
Put him in the dirt. Work him. Like all that sort of stuff. Right? So it like when that beat came on, the shit got, everybody was like, oh my God. Like everyone was ready.
What do you say? I gotta close the windows when I'm in New York.
Yeah,
because
he was like, New York don't know how to act.
Yeah, New York don't know how to act.
Yeah, I think that's on the remix.
Oh, no. Yeah, that
has
is the remix.
That has like Trinidad James on it.
Why did you do
because
that?
It has Trinidad James on it. That's why. Because you had Schoolboy Q, you had like A$AP Rocky, like it was really cool.
They should have excluded him or just got someone else to do it.
It's easily one of the worst verses ever.
Oh man,
it's like Lil Uzi's verse on Bad and Bougie. Like it's like one of the worst verses ever in history. I'm sorry. Oh, do we have something to talk about here?
I don't know if that's the worst verse ever. But
okay, the type of verse that ruins a song. Okay, I'm sorry. Not ruin the song. Makes us wish that they had cut that verse out and either had one of the main people rapping it just make a third verse or cut the song right there.
Because Takeoff wasn't on Bad and Bougie.
No.
So
no, he was not.
Maybe they should have just put him on there. Do I look like what did he say?
He said something like, do I look like I was left off Bad and Bougie?
Do I look like I was
like I don't know. Does that mean you weren't left off of it because you look like you're rich? So like
I think that's what he was getting.
You got the royalties anyway.
I think because he is Amigo, he probably profited off of it in a certain way.
Do I look like I was left off Bad? It's like nigga, I don't know what you look like.
So I'm broke. I'm broke because I wasn't on that song.
Right. Where was that? Okay, so A$AP Ferg. The third or fourth song came on and it was Work. And some dude that was what I believe an aspiring artist, because I saw the whole thing, like threw a CD up on the stage. This is maybe my shot. I just hope that just in the 1 in a million chance, him or someone in his team picks it up and they go back and they're in a tour bus or whatever the fuck they do, or they're in the back room and they're just like, yo, some dude threw this up on stage. Oh man, fuck. They back there smoking and drinking and they got women. Man, fucking pop it in. Let's just see. At the very least, we'll just get a laugh. Like we'll get a laugh at some dude that's trash. But if not, then cool. Like whatever. So yeah, go ahead, pop it in. And this is clearly at a point in time where a CD could be placed somewhere. So, right.
Damn.
So I know we're old, bro. I know. So he threw a CD up on stage and A$AP Ferg was like, yo, cut the music. Who the fuck threw that CD at the Trap Lord? And just like, cause this is what comes to mind in like sort of SpongeBob like fashion. Like the whole crowd just completely expands. And there's just like one guy in the middle of this huge circle now. Like, and everyone's pointing at this one guy. Like everyone vacates this small space and just is pointing at this one guy.
That is such a good way to describe it in true SpongeBob fashion.
Yeah, I just feel like that.
I'm just seeing that in my mind.
Just
right
a very
now.
Cartoonish. Yeah. I feel like that's happened in SpongeBob a few times where someone was just singled out in a crowd of people. And A$AP Ferg dropped the mic, ran toward the edge of the stage, leapt off the stage. Fans caught him in the air, set him down, and he ran up. And I don't know if he just shoved the dude really hard or he hit him, but he put his hands on this guy. The guy ended up flying on the ground. He hit the ground. A$AP Ferg got back up on the stage, picked the microphone up and said, fuck him up, and started a chant, fuck him up, fuck him up. And you just see the crowd slowly converge again. And you never saw that guy again for the rest of the concert.
Wow.
So I don't know what happened to him. I don't know if he died that night. I don't know. He probably got sent to a hospital. I don't know what happened, but he did not have a good night that night.
Hell no.
And he said, DJ, cut the music back on. Put it in work. Put him in the dirt. Bang him. Right? Semi gonna squirt. Bitch, you got murked. Goddamn. Right? So then that continued and everybody was just into it. And this is the hooliganism that you're talking about and why you don't want to end up at a Future concert because you just don't know what could happen.
Now, don't get me wrong. There can be hooligans in the crowd at a Kendrick concert, but I just feel like it's less likely for some weird shit to happen.
I'll tell you what. Had you listened to Pimp a Butterfly, there was a song, it was one of the big songs that he had. I think it was I Love Myself. You know, remember that? Damn, that was one of the, anyway, it was one of those songs. I think it might have been that one. But he chose to give the concert version. The whole thing was studio version, but that song was like the concert version, and you sort of like wonder why. It's cool though. And then you realize that like a break fights out in there. Like as you're listening to it, you kind of realize that like a scuffle had broken out amongst the crowd. And you hear Kendrick on the mic just like, nah, not on my time, homie. Nah, we don't do that. We done lost too many this year. Hey, my man, how many we lost on the dead homies? Nah, tell how many people we lost this year? How many people we lost? How many homies, how many of our homies have we lost? Nah, we ain't doing that. We here for love. We here for peace. We not doing that in here. Nah, we don't got the type of time for that. So
I guess that's what they wanted Travis Scott to do.
But see, the point is, if it were to happen at a Kendrick Lamar show or at some other people, I would think maybe a J. Cole show or something like that. If it were to happen, you would think that you're there in front of an artist that ain't with that.
Right.
And they're like, nah, I'm not inciting that. Not at my spot. Nah,
right.
We not doing that. That's not what we came here together to do. We're not doing that. So yeah, that's real. That was my biggest issue with Donald Trump being president.
That he's just inciting violence.
Because I'm not a huge politics guy, so I'm not super heavy into the policies of all the different politicians and everything that they're doing and getting into the nitty gritty of everything and how they're not all, how it's all not a very corrupt system. And I don't know exactly how much trust to be placing in it. It's kind of like, it's a weird space for me. And I think a lot of people feel like politics is a weird space to really align yourself with things. I don't know. But I do know that I'm just like looking at a guy, and he just doesn't seem like he's doing the best to try to unite people.
Right.
And this is supposed to be the United States of America, and it seemed like the divided states of America.
For sure.
And so that was my big. I'm just like, come on, dude. Like, what are you? Like you the leader of the world.
And the thing about it is, I mean, even before Trump, shit was divided, but Trump took advantage of that.
Yes.
He took advantage of that and put a lot more, I feel like he put more hate and incited more violence and put more power into his supporters. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because he for sure wasn't giving a damn about people that didn't support him.
Right. Yeah. And And then in some of those instances, you would say that just not speaking up and clearly deeming or claiming the actions that a lot of these violent people or hateful people were doing deplorable is about the same as inciting it. Like you would never come out and just be like, "Hey, stop that! That is wrong. Just we not here to
turning a blind eye."
Yeah. So that was my thing. So yeah, I think that if you go to a Kendrick show, it's going to be a little different. I also think with the type of music he's putting out, people are going there for a certain reason because this whole album was none of that bullshit. Yeah. Not one fucking song. Every single song was intentional. Now, absolutely, I do want to take a break from Kendrick. Okay. Because I want to get there, but I want to just tell you a quick story first. Okay. I was talking to Carl the other day on the phone.
Carl Easy.
Yeah, Carl, shout out Florida. Big up Florida. It was funny because we were talking about just like jobs, what's going on right now with us, and how he's about to become a technician, right? Okay. Safe life repairs, safe life replace. Right? So he's about to be over there doing his work. Now it was funny because he's in Florida replacing windshields. And so clearly in my mind, we started making fun of me being in Florida all those years ago, going door to door, selling windshields. And he was just like, oh yeah, man, that door to door shit, like that ain't it. He was like, I feel you. And I'm like, I don't know. You said it with like a little bit of familiarity. I was like, hold on. Like this whole time, have we only been making fun of me for doing some door to door sales, but you at some point in time, Carl, did some door to door sales? And he was like, yeah, man. It was like that fucking ADT job that I had like a few weeks ago. And I was like, hold on a second. You told me that one, the ad was kind of iffy. That it told you that you were going to be working full time, or that ADT was hiring, right? And you just clicked the ad, you went with the ad. But then when you got in touch with the recruiter lied to you and said it was going to be full time and you were going to be a technician. And then you got to the orientation and that guy told you, as you were reading the packet and you saw for yourself, that it was going to be part time and you were not going to be a technician, you were going to be a door to door salesman, which is a completely different job from being a full time technician, a part time door to door salesman for ADT, right? He was like, yeah. But I didn't tell you the rest. I went out for one day, just like I went out for one day all those years ago and did windshield sales. I don't know who is drawing up these plans, right? Like the scripts that people go by. But this is the only thing. We don't have to spend much time on this. I just wanted to tell you this because I didn't know this was a thing. I thought it was fucking hilarious. I was like, so what's your spiel? Like, what they have you say when you got up there? Because like, I want to know like how they expect you to sort of ring these people in and sell them a security system. And like, oh, something just real basic, something like, hey, ma'am, my name is Carl. I'm with ADT. I was just hoping to have a little bit of your time today and see, if you had a security system in, if so, what kind? And if not, I wanted to show you some of the packages that we're offering. And he said, once you get past that, which took me all of 20 seconds to say, he said, if you get past that and they haven't told you to shut the fuck up or leave them alone or slam the door in your face, it says in the script at that time, he was like, and also keep in mind, I was out with a trainer and saw this man do this part of the script. Before I tell you what this part of the script is, imagine you're waking up, you're going to work like it's a regular 9 to 5 or 10 to 6 or something like that. So you're working 10 or like 8 hours a day. You can only imagine how many different doors you're going to knock on selling this insurance. How many times you're going to try what I'm about to say. So you get past that. Some of the packages that we offer, man. He said, as soon as you say that, you look down at your feet and you start to wipe your feet on the doormat or where the doormat ought to be, and you proceed in the house.
That is invasive.
Yes. That is intrusive. That is like you put your head down, you start wiping your feet, and you just start to proceed. You just start to walk to the person. Like it start to sort of like nudge them out of your way, like you walking into their space.
Oh, this will be a great place to set up your system right here.
Yeah.
Wow, man. They gonna get somebody killed.
That's what I was saying. I was just like, you are in Florida. How do y'all get away with just trying to walk up in people's houses? They have open carry there, right? They have open carry. I know they have stand your ground law.
Yeah, I do believe they have stand your ground. I'm not sure about open carry.
Yeah, so nah.
Like, nah, regardless of the laws, nigga, nah.
And then, yeah, but definitely if you know that a lot of people in this area have guns.
Right.
But the thing is, it's like, I thought it was so ironic because the very thing that you're trying to sell, you're completely disregarding and trampling on, which is security.
Look at this. I just walked in your house.
Yeah, exactly. Wouldn't have been able to do this.
Not very secure, huh?
Yeah. I was just like, wow. I was like, yeah, Carl, I'm glad you gave that up.
Yeah.
And it was, completely commission based on top of the part-time.
Look, man, these companies gotta stop these commission based jobs, man.
Yeah, but some people feel like they're hustlers. They can get some people because some people they sell it and they're like, we have Jeff over here and Jeff sells this many units per month and he's gotten a bonus because he oversold last month and blah 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 blah. So they sell that.
I mean, I guess so. I mean, don't get me wrong. I feel like we've all been there before. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But so they know the type of people get. They know exactly who they're looking for. Yes, you know what I'm saying?
Yes, they do.
That they can, willy-nilly into these jobs and shit. We've all been there, but not no more.
No, yeah.
I ain't fucking with that.
All right. That's all I wanted to say before as that goes. Let's get into this Kendrick album.
All right. I'm going to have to reference my phone here to like just kind of look at the names of the songs and whatnot.
Okay.
But you go ahead with like what?
It's my favorite hip hop album of all time.
Wow. Okay. All right. I don't even know what to say to that. Why?
That's a good place. So I'm gonna do this in a bouncy fashion. We're gonna just bounce around a lot of different types of things, so I can try to tether together all the ideas that make me feel the way that I feel about this piece of music. This man has been gone for a long time. Mm-hmm. He doesn't just drop loosies a lot. He's not always doing features. He's living his own life.
He don't even be on social media.
Right, and he has talked about this, and he has addressed this before, and he's addressed it on this album a lot. A lot of what he talks about is his relationship with celebrity and expectations from the music industry, the listeners, all this sort of stuff, the fanatics. And at the very end of the song Mirror, where he's saying, I chose myself. Like, I'm sorry I didn't save the world. I chose myself. I can't live in the Matrix anymore. I chose myself. That's, I have this theory about people being really, really good at things. And this is my theory. I think that people, no matter what field you're in, you be LeBron James, you be Kendrick Lamar, you be whatever, Tiger Woods, whatever it is you do it at the highest level. I think that once you get past a certain level of being good at something, like where you become great at something, like superbly refined in that thing, you lose people. Here's what I mean by that, because they're clearly at the top and they're getting money and they're doing their thing. What I mean to say is that no one understands what you're doing anymore.
Okay.
They're so damn good and they're so technical with the things that they're doing that the only people that could possibly understand how good they are people that are relatively as good as them, or people that study what they do and can dissect on a technical level all the things that they do. I know LeBron James is an awesome basketball player. I know people say that he's one of the best, if not the best, right? I know these things. I know that when I watch him play, it's phenomenal. I love it. He's an awesome entertainer on the court. Like, he's fun to watch play. I have no idea how good LeBron James is. Like, I have no idea what his basketball IQ looks like to him.
Right.
Like, when he's looking at a basketball court, he's looking at a completely different, like, he's in a different matrix than I am. Like, he sees possibilities in things that, like, we can't even fathom.
Yeah, he has a different understanding of the court.
Yeah,
of the game.
Tom Brady on a football field. Like, when he says hike and he sees the defense and he's looking at a different world than we are.
Right.
Like, he just sees things differently than we do. We don't know how good only he knows how good he is. And other people that also do what he does and study what he does have a glimpse. They have an idea of how good he is, but you don't truly know. So there was that huge video that was going around about Kendrick Lamar and that song Nostalgia on Pusha T's album, where he used a bunch of 10s and 9s. We threw that in the chat. I don't know if you clicked on it or not.
I'm not sure.
It was some wild verse that he dropped, and there was some dude that just dissected the verse. And it would just blow your mind, just going back and just looking at this video and this verse of Nostalgia, and how everything he said was just like wildly like a double or triple entendre, and how it all came together to make this beautiful message. And I'm certain he's doing stuff like that all the time. But no one will know. Like, you'll never know what the best people are doing because it's going over your head a lot of the time. Mm-hmm. So what I think happens is he has certain lines. Mr. Morale is a great song on this one. It's one of my favorite songs on there. And there's a small break where like the beat kind of cuts out and he says, I know somebody's listening. Mm-hmm. And then he continues rapping. And I think that he says things like that because he knows that most of y'all aren't. I think he knows that most people are not listening.
Okay.
Like, you like what I do with my voice. You know that I'm rapping a bunch of words. You like the musicianship of it all. Like, I do things in a way that is palatable for the casual listener. Mm-hmm. But as far as the things that I'm really pushing through this microphone, most of y'all are not going to catch this. Mm-hmm. But I know somebody's listening. Mm-hmm. So that's the feeling I get from him. And I think that once you get to a certain point, you know that people can't truly understand you. I think it's a lot of reason why celebrities date celebrities and why a lot of successful people within their own right do that. Comedians a lot of time talk about hanging out with other comedians because it's hard for other people to really understand their point of view. Mm-hmm. Police officers, a lot of time hang out with police officers, like chefs, like a lot of people hang out with their own clique because they feel like they're understood there.
Birds of a feather flock together.
Is that okay? Yeah, there you go. One-liner, man. Go ahead, one-liner, man. Hit me. Right? So like that's a real sentiment. That's a real thing that people go through. And I'm listening to this guy the whole time talk about these things. And I'm like, man, I wonder who's listening. Mm-hmm. Like, I really wonder who's listening to these words. Because if you were, and you ran this back time and time again, this shit is deep.
Very deep.
This is an album. This is content. These are things that people don't and won't speak about. And he also says that in there. Mm-hmm. In order to have an opinion, y'all got to stay politically correct. Mm-hmm. Fuck that. Right? Like, these are his words. Now, I paraphrase that, but these are what he was saying. Also, with that dichotomy between the people that are good at things and then just the lay people that have no idea, I don't think it's anyone's fault. I think that the people at the top are going to feel underestimated because they know they're genius, right? And only a few people do. And then people at the bottom a lot of times are going to feel like they're overestimated, or some of them are going to be like, no, they're estimated quite where they need to be. Some people are going to, it varies, but a lot of times you're not going to be able to see. So there's always going to be a huge disparity amongst someone doing something at a high level and the people that just don't study that thing, don't know that thing.
Okay.
So just laying the groundwork for this conversation. Like, that's my theory on people being really good at things.
Okay.
I think that a lot of what he does gets overlooked, for sure. I really, as great as he is and as great as people know him to be, I still think the stuff he does goes overlooked.
I mean, in the world of hip hop, I feel like a lot of people are looking for just that super upbeat. I can, what can I hear? Can I hear this in the club?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because I can't tell you how often in the last week I've been on Twitter and I've seen people like, oh, here come that conscious rap, here come that conscious shit. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just like, damn, are we like that far gone from like just having real messages in hip hop?
Yeah.
Like, is that really all y'all want to hear is just, is crime and violence? And you know what I'm saying? And don't get me wrong, like, I listen to that shit. I know I do. But like, I don't know. I guess I've just finally come to a place in my life where I'm actually willing to give someone like Kendrick a listen. And I listened to the whole album more than once. And I ain't gonna sit here and act like, I broke it down piece by piece and analyzed it, 100%.
No, I still have to listen to it a whole lot more.
But, nigga, every song on the album is great.
That's how I feel.
Every single song, like you said, is intentional.
Yeah.
There's a message. It's truthful. It's honest. It's great. I like every single song.
I don't skip a song.
Every single song. I like it. Every single song. Nigga, every time I listen to Mother I Sober, I get chills.
That's one of my favorites.
It is. It's probably my favorite song on there.
That second half gets that's when it gets really deep.
Yeah, he starts talking about abuse and having to go to therapy, and I'm assuming cheating on his fiance. You know what I'm saying? There's so much to hear in what he's saying, and I don't know. I think Mother I Sober is probably my favorite song.
I can see that. I can see that.
It just talks about he's talking about the guilt and the grief, and how you really haven't experienced it unless you've been sober. And I just like we've all most of us have done drugs and drank a little too much alcohol, just trying to escape reality, just trying to not be here and just wash away all of our guilt, our sins, our grief, our insecurities. And man, if like you gotta relate to that, so like you gotta understand that shit.
Yeah, it's pretty deep. In the way he raps it too. Yeah. Like it's real deep. Like he's letting you know, like I'm not doing no funny stuff with my voice. Like I just want you to hear, like I'm talking to you. Yeah. Like I just want you to hear.
I like how he did that. Yeah. I really like how he did that.
Yeah, I'm gonna give you a real chill beat and I'm just gonna speak over this. You're gonna hear me.
Yeah, it's like you're in an intimate venue just on some spoken word shit.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Well, I mean, he's a poet for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's definitely a poet for
sure.
But yeah, that song, just about like your mother being abused in certain ways and you feeling the guilt of not being able to do anything.
Because he said he was like 5 years old. Yeah, and I guess it just haunts him still up to this point.
I could see that.
Yeah, and
I could see that.
Like, he said something about his mother's mother, has been watching him, even like on the back of those buses, and shit like that. And I'm just like, man, like you just taking a break away from the trap shit and just kind of going listening to this album really just makes you, I feel different.
I feel different. Yeah.
Yeah, it's such a great album.
It's a beautiful album. This is actually a great segue on to the next portion of this conversation about Kendrick. This last bit of my theory being that the line from The Dark Knight, Harvey Dent, either you die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain. I feel like, along with that first portion of my theory, that if you become great at something and that people not only don't, but also can't truly understand what it is you're trying to give to the people through just like pure emotion, pure truth, and artistry, right? Then you will at some point say, y'all aren't hearing me anyway. Let me go get this bag. Let me and that's when you've seen people quote unquote sell out or do something for a quick buck, a money grab, whatever. And I think sometimes we've seen some of our favorite people take that route and you're just like, I wonder why they kind of did that. Like why they went that route because at this point I'm trying to support my family. I got a daughter now. I got a wife. I got family members. I got whatever. I'm choosing me because y'all don't even hear me. Like y'all got conversations of this other person being as great as I am, and I'm out here kicking what I'm kicking. So if that's the case, I'm gonna give y'all this album. Don't talk to me for another 5 to 6 years. I'll be back and give y'all another album then. I don't want to hear from nobody. I'm going to go live my normal regular life, or I'm going to get to this other bag. I'm going to go do something else. Or because I've thought about certain artists, and again, we don't know these people, so we can't hold them to these expectations, but I've heard certain artists that have been awesome conscious rappers, and then I just go hear them jump on some song and talk about completely nothing with someone else, like just featured on someone else's song and just talk about complete bullshit. But they rapping. They're still rapping at a high level, but they're just talking about bullshit. And I'm like, I wonder why they do that. But I've heard J. Cole on songs say things like, sometimes I question whether this shit matters. putting substance into something in the world so used to instant gratification, right? Like I don't even know if what I do actually matters. I don't even know if people really listen to what I say when they bump my shit, or if they even care really, or if, you know, they listen to this and they go out and do the same shit they was going to do before. So like at this point, this is just my way of therapy and my way of getting to the bag and securing security for my family. But I'm not out here trying to save the world. Like I'm not even out here trying to do that anymore. So I think that happens to people. Like you see yourself become quote unquote the villain. It doesn't have to be in any real diabolical sort of way, but you see yourself do things that you didn't think you would have when you were younger, trying to do things for the purity of whatever game it is you're a part of. You know? And
then like I'm online and I'm seeing people talking about, like I've literally seen multiple people talking about, oh, ain't no bangers on here. And I'm just like,
hey, yo, I love niggas, bro.
I'm just like,
I love people.
Well, one, what do you define as a banger?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Mr. Morale to me was kind of like a banger.
Well, that exactly. There are multiple, because when you say banger, if we're simply talking about something that you can, you know, like a head banger, you know what I'm saying, you can knock your head to, there's multiple songs on there. Silent Hill, Mr. Morale, I liked Die Hard. Is a lot of songs on there that you could absolutely bang to, especially in the whip. Now, most of the songs on there, I'm not expecting to hear in the club at all. You know what I'm saying? But there's some bangers on there. But the thing about
there are a couple. What is that one? It's like, push your haters off me, like, like what?
That's Silent Hill.
That's Silent Hill. Yeah, like that. Yeah, like
with Kodak.
I could see that going out. Like
maybe
they're gonna play that in the club. They're gonna find a way to put that in the set.
I could see that too. But it's just like for somebody to be like, ain't no bangers on here. I mean, what is a banger to you? Like what exactly is a banger to you?
It is, yeah. I mean, that's a legitimate question, but I would definitely think that there probably gonna have to be some trap drums in there. There's gonna have to be some heavy bass hitting. That's probably a banger. Some trap drums, some
they looking for some, you know, they looking for Metro Boomin or some production, some 808 Mafia production. That's not what Kendrick does, but there's definitely bangers on here.
And you know, let's broaden this a little bit. So you don't, historically, from what I understand, you don't necessarily listen to any of like the top 5 as far as I know. Now I know people's top 5 is like weird. I mean, top 5 of this generation, meaning Kendrick, Drake, J. Cole, Big Sean. People throw him in the conversation when it gets to like 4, 5, 6. But you don't have to. I completely understand why you wouldn't. I've listened to some Big Sean in the past, but also seen him, like, in my opinion, fumble some stuff. Like this last, I think it was either Hitmaker or, I think he came out with one recently. And it was not, you don't know nothing about that. It was like a 6-song EP. It wasn't really.
I definitely listen to Drake.
But like, do you listen to the albums or you just like hear some of the playlists?
No, I listen to Drake's albums.
But name me like 3 songs that you like off the last album. You know what I'm saying? Like, do you
don't get me in.
You see what I'm saying? Like that last album didn't do it for you. Like you don't know a song off of that album. Now I got like a song from it, which is 7 p.m. on Bridle Path, I think, or 7 a.m. on Bridle Path. It's some point at 7 o'clock. But that's one where he's spitting and there's a lot of really cool lines on there.
But yeah, I mean, I don't listen to a lot of Kendrick. I don't listen to a lot of J. Cole. Like for the most part, I know them from their singles, like I said before. But I decided to give this latest one a try, and I liked it a lot. Shit, I might have to go back and listen to J. Cole's last joint just for the hell of it.
The off season, that was a good one. It ain't this. But it was really, really, really good. Okay. I enjoyed that album a lot.
Yeah. I feel like Kendrick gave a lot of love to Kodak on this album. I was surprised to hear so much Kodak on this joint.
He did, yeah. Kodak sort of seemed like a narrator. So it's like just popping up here and there and just giving you a little bit.
Yeah, that was pretty interesting.
You never know what sort of respect anyone has in the game.
Yeah.
Like, you never know who Kodak is as a real person. We see a lot of the shenanigans, the antics, and all in the way that he just be looking. But like, we don't know how people feel about him.
The way that he just be looking, that is hilarious.
Did you ever watch that No Flocking Part 2 that I sent? It ain't like the first No Flocking.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I watched it.
It seems like some drugs and some just external shit caught up to him. It just seems a little sluggish. It seems a little lockjaw-ish. It just seems a little weird, like a little sad.
Hold on, let me refer to Spotify real quick. I want to just talk about some of the songs that I really like on this joint.
I think the instruments were beautiful. Like I like all the beats. He raps so many different ways. It seems like he's a different artist sometimes. Like the things that he can do with his voice.
Yeah.
Like
I like a lot of the vocalists that he had on here. This Sampa guy on Father Time. Yeah. Father Time was a really good song.
Sampa is somebody that Drake has worked with in the past. He's had him on what's that song? Don't think about it too much.
You know what? Now that you say that, his voice sounds exactly like that. So that's definitely the same person. I loved his vocals on that song.
Oh yeah, I love his voice.
Die Hard was really cool to me.
I love getting away from like the altos. Is that what it is? Like the people that are just like the fucking Maxwells out there. Like I'm glad to like just get some deep voice niggas singing.
I want to know what you thought about We Cry Together.
That might be Sopranos I was thinking about. But We Cry Together. I knew my brother was going to love that song.
Why?
He fucking sent it to me. And he was like, because he sent it to my sister and I. It was like, oh, he was like, this album for real, or something like that. Uh-huh. And I was just like, I knew your hating ass was going to gravitate towards this song. I love the song, like as I do all the different songs, because of the perspective. And let's definitely get into the perspectives. Yeah. But I was like, bro, you need some healing. Because I knew that. And then as soon as I said that back, my little sister was like, yeah, I kind of knew that too. Like I was kind of waiting on you to send this to. And it's just like, bro, because there was clearly so much hate and anger and angst in that song. And they channeled it perfectly. Mm-hmm. It's like, but
I've never heard such an eloquent ass argument.
Right, because at first it's just kind of like on some fuck you, I should have sucked his dick. What'd you say, bitch? Like it's a lot of that. But then as they start to really expound on the things they're talking about, it gets a little bit deeper. Yeah, for sure. It was pretty good.
Yeah. And there was a lot of things within the album were repetitive. Like I feel like R. Kelly was brought up on this album like 3-4 times.
Well, no, you know what though? You know what was fascinating about that? Because I understood what you're saying. I think that the way he set it up, he was like trying to slow walk you into some stuff. Mm-hmm. That's why I think things got really, really deep in the second half and like the last few songs, because there are songs where he's coming in and I forget exactly which ones they are, but he's talking about, man, I hope I'm not too late to save my soul and stuff like that. Like he's saying these things and it seems like, are you like, will you still accept me if this and that? Mm-hmm. And I think he's slowly trying to slow step you into, I'm about to say some real shit in these last 4 songs. I hope at this junction or at this juncture of the album, you've been prepped for what I'm about to say. Mm-hmm. And so I think he slowly because he's talking about, you're right, R. Kelly does come up a few times. Mm-hmm. And then he sort of hits you with the whopper at the end, which is, I wonder if R. Kelly would be who he is if he didn't go through the shit that he went through. Right. And that's the conversation. And at the end of We Cry Together, by the way, there's just a quick bit and it says, stop, I think it says like, stop tiptoeing around the conversation or something like that. And then it goes to the next song. Mm-hmm. I don't think he wanted to tiptoe around stuff. I think he sort of prepped you for it and then he hit you with it. Yeah. And the conversation that people don't want to have is, the conversation people do want to have is, hey, that guy did that thing, well, fuck him. Lock him up forever. He's a piece of shit. And I completely understand that judgment on other human beings. I understand when somebody transgresses in a big way, we just say, fuck, yo, lock them up, throw away the key, put them underneath the prison, kill him, do whatever you want with him. I don't care anymore. He's a lost soul. And I get that. But no one ever wants to have the conversation of what could we do to prevent this type of thing in the future, aside from just killing everyone off? Like, what could we do? Well, in order to do that, we would have to understand the psychology of certain people. In order to understand the psychology of certain people, you'd have to try to humanize them to some degree, which people don't want to do. And understand that this is rough, and this is even rough, controversial, that I'm even uttering, or furthermore expounding on the utterances in this album. But this is what it is. What makes these people? Well, it seems through studies that there's an overwhelming percentage of people that abuse children that have gone through child abuse themselves when they were once young.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And that it's a weird sort of like disease in a sense, and it's like really contractable, which is just like weird. And it goes, and he that's when he also starts talking about slavery and what we were talking about off air, which is they raped our mothers, raped our sisters, made us watch, made us rape each other, right? And so that in certain ways, when people do talk about the ancestral trauma, how it does trickle down, how there are certain memories and certain things encoded in us. If it's traumatic enough and it happens through a long lineage of people, how it's just sort of contracted through the DNA, and that there's just work that has to be done in order to reverse those side effects, those symptoms. And if people are just raping people and they're going through all this psychological trauma, you just have to ask what sort of side effects, if any, it causes. Yeah. And that shit is a tough conversation to have amongst families. Yeah. Like, how have we been, this is a bad choice of words, but touched by all of this stuff. But that word touched also serves as various definitions, right? Like for various purposes. Like, how have we been affected by all this sort of stuff?
And even in Mother I Sober, he's talking about how, his mother's asking him, did he touch you? Did he touch you? And, he's like, no. But it's like nobody believes him, right? Because like the shit is just so ingrained in the minds of maybe his family, or just families in general. You know, this is more of probably a general thing he's speaking of. He's not even his family don't even believe him, because they're so focused on the fact that Uncle so and so did that shit that one time. I know he touched you, Kendrick. I know he did.
Right, just tell me it's okay.
Like, just tell me. That shit.
That's fucking deep. And then he goes even further to say something that, again, I've never heard from it. Now, maybe my rap knowledge just ain't quite there, but I've been listening to rap for a long time, so I've never heard come from a rapper, which is, so look around at these other rappers, like every other rapper touch, like, right, and we covering up with chains and tattoos. Yep. I'm like, oh, yeah. What is that? That's deep. That's super deep. You ain't heard anyone talk like that before.
That's super deep. There's another reference he makes in what is the name of that song where he's like in 95, where he's like, remove all that designer and what you got. Oh, yeah. You ugly as fuck. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And you out of pocket. Yeah.
And I'm just like, is so funny to me, because that's what these rappers are doing. They got all this designer shit, all these chains, all these tattoos, but you remove that shit, nigga, a lot of these people are nobodies.
It's rough, because they shouldn't feel like they're nobody.
Exactly.
And I've never been, because I'm certain I'll judge it at some point in time. Like, I don't want to be the person to just point a finger and laugh at a bunch of people that rock a bunch of chains. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, it's your money. You earned it. You're going to do what you want to do with it. That's fine. I don't have to wear them, right? Yeah. I'd never spend my money that way. I would if I became a rapper, if I decided to use these microphones for something else, and I was like, yo, Keon, we about to come out with a joint album instead. Fuck this podcast. We're gonna rap now, and we blew up 2 months from now. I'm not doing that. I'm getting people out of debt. If there are people in my family, friends, we getting out of debt. I'm gonna purchase some things like that will accrue money, right, with time. Like I'm not just flaunting. I'm not walking around trying to flaunt what I have.
If you,
not me. This is not me.
This is a little off topic. If let's say something like that happened, this podcast blows up next month, and we get a deal, you got to name me one thing that you would buy for yourself that is very expensive.
I would just make repairs on my car. but here's my thing is like, but this is real though. Like, okay, so you get a ton of money tomorrow, like just a large lump sum of money. This is the way I'm not trying to shit on you at all. This is the way I sort of look at weddings. I was having this conversation today about weddings, and the lady was talking to me about a lot of the rules that go along with certain things. Like she's known people where somebody was working at a fucking Carrabba's making $150, $200 a weekend or something like that. Just trying to make ends meet. And they were made to be like the best man or something like that. Or the man of honor. I'm sorry. He was going to be the man of honor for a woman. Okay. Right. So instead of her having a maid of honor, it was a man of honor. Right. And she picked out the tuxes that like all the I guess the groomsmen or something was supposed to wear. And like this dude had to purchase an $800 suit.
Ooh. That's expensive.
It's like, I want to be this for you, but like
I wouldn't do that.
So now you have to tell the bride of a wedding, like, I want to do this for you. But now you have to have a difficult conversation about how you've invited me to go somewhere, but I have to pay $1,000 just to get dressed to go there. Nigga. Let alone trying to get like the bachelorette party together or whatever it is, whatever other responsibilities I have to spend $1,000 first before anything else happens. That's responsibility number one. Come on, man. Like, this is crazy. And then,
nigga, we renting suits.
I've seen people do $75,000. I've seen like a $25,000 wedding before, which was just, open bar. It was at a country club. I was there having a good time. And the people, and I know this, not because this is something I'm projecting, because the groom looked at me in my eyes and said, I didn't enjoy any of this. Right? Because he was too busy trying to make sure that she was good, and she was too busy trying to make sure everyone was good. Because a lot of the times, I guess, we say that it's for them. It's for the holy matrimony. It's for the union. It's about sanctity. But it's a big party. It's a big party. And so you got to make sure other people have hot food and that the decorations look nice. And if you have an open bar, people are using the open bar, whatever. The things are what you want them to be on. It's supposed to be the most monumental day of your entire life. Or at least that's the way that people grow up looking at it. Usually the women, usually. They're clearly outliers. That's a lot of money to showcase what's happening. And now I'm also not a traditionalist, and we've gotten into this before. So I know a lot of people that are more so into traditions. This is high up on their list of things to do, and that's completely fine. They say it ain't tricking if you got it. So if you feel like you got it, cool. But people that don't got it for real and are spending it like that is wild. And even if I did have it, I just still don't see myself frivolously spending money on things that I don't need to. If I was going to have a huge celebration for the union of me and someone else, it would just be just an awesome dinner. Maybe a weekend away with friends and stuff like that. Like, we could do something cool like that. But nah, I'm good on that. So
I know that, you're all about the necessities.
I do like necessities.
So let's I don't know, something like this, the dual basket air fryer.
Yeah.
So like something like that, you didn't really know you needed it until you had it. You know what I'm saying? Okay. And maybe you don't need it for real.
Indeed.
You know what I'm saying?
I don't.
But do you think you would expand on what you think is a necessity, or do you think that what you believe is a necessity right now will always...
I wouldn't expand on what needs... Well, that's a great question, because I wouldn't expand on what is a necessity.
Okay.
I would expand on the things that I am susceptible to purchasing as a want.
Okay.
Because I know what's needed.
Okay.
I know what is needed for me to live. So you would
expand on things you might want.
On things I might want, and things I may be prone to purchasing with X amount of dollars that's given to me. Yeah, for sure. Again,
I'm just curious as like, what would one of those things be? I guess that's where I'm trying to get.
It's one of those things where I wouldn't know. Like people kept talking to me about air fryers and how amazing it was. And I had to see one and I was like, okay, cool. And then it was a Christmas gift and I got it. A lot of the great stuff I have are Christmas gifts. I don't have things. Like I have a bed that I sleep on. I clearly have electricity and water. I just showed someone that I have two flat screen TVs I'm about to sell. If anybody wants flat screen TVs, hit me up. But I'm about to put them on like Facebook Market or something like that. And she was just
why do you have two flat screen TVs?
Exactly. She was like, why do you have two flat screen TVs? Like, why have I never seen two flat screen TVs? I was like, because they're in my closet. Like, I don't know. Why do I need to bring them out? One of these.
Why do you have them though?
Well, because this was taken from Luck's gym when Luck closed the gym down. I took.
Are they still in the box?
They're not in the box.
Oh,
yeah, but they're
shit, nigga. I might want to take a look at them.
Well, I'm gonna sell these. You have how many TVs you got?
Who's to say I wasn't gonna buy them, nigga? I didn't say I wanted them for free.
Oh well, if you're gonna put in a bid, then yeah, like you might.
Oh, nigga got a bid.
Well, when I put it out for sale, yeah, it's gonna be a bid. But if you got a certain amount of money, yeah, we can definitely work something out. I'll
take a look at them.
Yeah, I'll get you one of these. I got a couple big ones. Let me. Yeah. After this, we'll go look at them. Yeah. Anywho,
well, hold on. I guess I don't know. I guess the question I'm really asking is like, you got to have something in your life,
in my mind,
that you've wanted, but just was like, it's expensive. I would never buy that in the place in my life right now. Something. Art. A home gym.
A home. So now we talking about we like millionaires. Like if you trying to take it there.
So
because I would have a home masseuse.
A home masseuse?
Yeah, I would definitely have a home masseuse.
Someone that comes through like a couple times a week.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
because that's something I can't do for myself.
Right. But so you would like if you ever so
like
I guess
a personal masseuse I could do.
When I say home gym, I also have to think about the fact that maybe you would never have a home big enough to have a room dedicated to a gym.
Yeah, because that's crazy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, as well.
Well, I'm saying though, like even if you wanted to stay in an apartment for the rest of your life, you could probably still get like a 3-bedroom apartment and have one room dedicated to working out versus paying a certain amount a month to go to a gym. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Yeah. I'm just trying to think of shit now.
Yeah. No, I'll probably have that out and I would just like have friends and stuff more like over more often and that's where they would stay.
Okay.
I would just set that up so people could come stay over.
Okay.
And hang out. Yeah, that's probably what I would do.
All right.
I know it's rough, man. I've never thought about like that's the thing. I spend no time, and maybe this sounds weird. I've been saying some stuff recently that has sounded weird to me. I don't think about purchasing things. Like I never think about what I would buy if I had money.
Okay.
Like that's not really where my mind doesn't really occupy that space.
All right.
So yeah, so I couldn't even answer that question. Like what I would buy if I just think about fixing up my car. And I would keep that car until it came off the wheels.
All right.
Like I would just keep that one. It's going to be paid off in like a month.
Would you take it to the point where you like, if it really came down to the engine dying, would you just buy a new engine or would you buy a new car?
It depends on the price. It depends. Like if getting the car fixed is going to be more than purchasing a new car than I'm purchasing a new car.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to make the smart decision. Like, I'm not just going to hold on to something because it is old. That doesn't make any sense. Yeah, I just don't think about buying things often. I just don't think about what I would buy. Like, I don't know. I would just have to come to it. But first is just clearing debts, making the car better.
Yeah.
Buying
that is absolutely doing the smart thing to do.
Yeah, I'm gonna do maintenance on my body. Like, I'm gonna get like all the different vitamins that I maybe can't buy now, which I don't know what that is, but I'd look into that. I'd try to get a masseuse to like loosen up my back, maybe like a chiropractor whenever I could have around. Yeah, just different things like that. Like, I'd just be looking for health and security.
Okay.
Like, health and security would definitely be first before anything else. And then when it gets to that point, I have no idea what it would be.
All right.
Like a podcast studio?
Yeah.
Okay. A podcast studio? Like, I would definitely try to figure out something like that.
Yeah.
Okay. If that answers your question?
Yes, that answers my question.
Okay, podcast studio.
We got one, you guys. We got one.
The other thing I said recently that was weird before we go back into this album is on the last episode, I had Rachel, who's an awesome person. That episode was very, very cool.
You guys getting a double header this week.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I'm going to drop this one on like Thursday. But she said, yeah, one of the things that sold me into coming and doing this was just said that you are a person that really looks at conversation like an art. And when she said that, I completely forgot that people don't. Like, it struck me. I was like, sort of looking at it like, well, yeah. And then then another wave hit me where I was like, oh, well, yeah, yes, I do. I forget that because when you go to college and things of such sort, and or if you go to a library, you're signing up for class, or you go to a library, communication isn't in the art section. It's not an art class you take, right? So you don't look at it as an art. And I completely forgot that that's the way that people form their opinions about things. So I was like, oh, well, yeah, to me, it's art.
Right.
Like, that's what I see when I see it taking place.
Right.
I may not think that the other person takes the art seriously or that they're very good at their art, but they're also a bunch of sucky ass rappers too. So just because you may not see it as an art doesn't mean that you are not creating art every time you're in conversation with someone, that you're not improvising a painted picture with them. Because that is what you're doing. You're painting a picture as you're speaking to one another so that you can understand what the other person is saying.
Right.
So that to me, it has made sense a long time for that to be an art. So when she said that to me, I was sort of taken aback. I thought, oh shit, yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, I think of it as an art. I didn't know that was like kind of like a weird thing to do for a second. I thought that was interesting. Anyway, back over to Kendrick. Super deep. I love, was it Auntie's Diaries?
Auntie's Diaries.
Demarius is Marianne now. Great song.
Yes.
Great song.
Yes, it is.
I love that we're getting so much about his life. So much about him standing up in the pew at a church in front of the reverend or the pastor and being like, hey, I don't like the way that you're talking about my cousin or and my aunt.
Right.
Right, saying, oh, Demarius is Marianne now and is on to man now. Like, they going through some stuff. Like, pointing that out in the middle of a church is wild.
Crazy.
Right? Because clearly you're trying to be like, all right, let's pray for them. Like, let's try to get their life back on track. And Kendrick's standing up like, hey, nah. Like, are we not supposed to love thy neighbor? Like, what are we doing right now? Like, what are we talking about? And standing up in a crowd of people that clearly looking at him like, boy, you better sit out. Like, what are you doing right now? Like, this is the doctrine you're going against. I love
gospel.
I love that scene. I love that imagery. I love that scene of Kendrick standing up because he's standing up on this album. He's doing the same thing he was doing whenever that happened when he was younger. And seeing that his cousin looked up at him and smiled and was like, okay, like, all right, Kendrick, like and he said that sort of brought the family together. Like, oh my fuck, I love that.
Yeah.
That shit is deep, man.
Yeah. It's a powerful album.
God, I love that.
It's I don't even know if I've ever said an album was powerful. This is a powerful album.
Yeah, you probably would, if you had listened to Pimp a Butterfly, you would have felt that way. To Pimp a Butterfly is another, it's pretty powerful. It's
maybe I'll go back and listen to it.
Yeah, it's not like this, but but they were saying the same thing about that album. Ain't no bangers on here. Like, come on, man. Oh, here go a bunch of this conscious, preachy shit. Like, that's what they were saying about that. Mm-hmm. So that one, and then Damn, he was able to like kind of touch around and do some different stuff.
And you know what?
He gave you loyalty. He gave you DNA.
I was just about to ask you if you think that maybe because on Damn, you could say that there were some bangers.
Yes.
Do you think that
Humble was played a lot? DNA was played a lot.
Yeah. Do you think that
Loyalty with Rihanna,
people saying to Pimp a Butterfly didn't have no bangers? Do you think that made him do something on Damn?
I think that it does get to people as revolutionary as I think that he is as an artist.
Still human.
He's still human. Yeah. And that's what I was saying. That's why I wanted to lay the foundation with my theory at first. I think that sometimes people are like, man, y'all don't fucking hear me anyway. Mm-hmm. Like, how can I take what it is I say? Because he's going to be, Kendrick is going Kendrick. He's going to be Kendrick no matter what. Mm-hmm. J. Cole's going to be J. Cole. These people are going to be them. So if you're a conscious person, you're conscious. You don't just backpedal. Like, there's no way of actually doing that. So it's really just, how can I make this palatable? How can I make this listenable? Mm-hmm. Like, right, for other people. So I think even in Damn, he was spitting and he was talking about some stuff, but he made it easier for people to engage with that content. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't as artistic. It followed more of a conventional formula. Uh-huh. And when I say that, I mean the whole album as well as just verse, hook, verse, bridge, hook, just giving you something in a way that you've heard it a lot of times before, as opposed to, I'm going to throw some trumpets and some saxophones at the beginning and me snapping and yelling, and then me rapping for a minute and 13 seconds and cutting the song off. Yeah. Right. Like, I'm not going to give you that on this album. Uh-huh. So it wasn't as unconventional and as sort of sporadic and jazzy. Mm-hmm. But I think that he still got his shit off. I think that that's what happens when you become really great. Yep. Is you find a way to take your message and package it a way that it sort of like slips in through the back door and people don't actually know that they're listening to conscious shit, mm-hmm. because you threw some 808s and some trap drums and some snares and and you got Rihanna singing on it and a bunch of other stuff going on. So you have to find a way to be crafty about tricking people into listening to conscious things. Yeah. Yeah. That's a real art.
I love when you count me out.
That's something that I aspire to be able to do is make things listenable. Yeah. Yeah. Is to take things that are coming from this vessel, but package them and plate them in a way that looks, that looks vivid, mm-hmm. and fucking edible in a sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
Edible to the mind.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. So that's a real gift.
Yeah. And you're right. He definitely did that with this album. Like, I don't know how anybody listens to this album all the way through and you're not touched by it.
Yeah. There's got to be something.
Yeah. Cause there's so much raw emotion and just, like I said earlier, truthfulness. Like this album, nigga, I had to look up the definition of what does it mean when someone says something is the gospel. I didn't quite know what that meant fully, but when I listened to this album, what came to my mind is like, this is gospel. Like, this is it.
That's funny.
I had to look up. I was like, what does that mean exactly before I jumped to that conclusion? And what it means is that something is the truth. And I'm like, nigga, this is the gospel. Like, this whole album is based on truth and honesty and emotion. There's insecurities, there's abuse, it's life. Yeah. This album is life.
It seems like completely unadulterated. Like this is it. I'm giving it to y'all.
Yeah.
And don't talk to me. I'm gone again. Blink twice and I'm gone. That's what he said. Like,
yeah, it's great.
Yeah,
make sure you listen to this album.
He talked about the fake advocates out there, the fake, civil rights fighters and all that sort of stuff out there. He's just like, bro, like
sending thoughts and prayers and shit. Like,
are you really happy for me? Yeah. Are you happy for me? Mm-hmm. Are you truly? Because I'm out here. You guys are wondering where I am through all this sort of stuff. Because maybe I didn't post a black square on Instagram. Mm-hmm. Maybe I didn't come out on Twitter when you thought I should have and reposted some stuff or retweeted something. Maybe I didn't do that. Maybe I was off somewhere meditating in silence. Maybe I was with my daughter trying to raise a young woman. Maybe I was just eating food with my family. Maybe I was just off somewhere trying to heal. Mm-hmm. Because I know, or my sense is that the best thing that I can do is heal myself. Songs like Man in the Mirror, they're not just, I'm staring, searching, looking at the man in the
search.
I'm looking. I'm looking at the man. I'm looking at the staring at the man. It's one of those.
Yeah.
Something's in the man in the mirror. I'm asking him to change his ways. Right? Songs like that, and there are many of them like that, are there for a reason. Mm-hmm. It's because, and I really believe this. I can't see it. I won't say I can't see it working another way per se, but this seems to hold the most truth for me when I really think it through. There is a measurable outcome that happens when we take time stepping away from the messianic complex, from trying to be the people. When we're really young, you hear this all the time, especially people like just starting out in college. You ask 10 of them, just 10 people, what they want to do. I feel like 7 or 8 of them are going to be like, I want to help people. Like, I want to change the world. I want to help people. You feel that way when you're young. You want to help. And that's a beautiful thing, that you want to help. So people try to, a lot of the time, tear down systems and shout at the top of their lungs and tell people that they're wrong and say, you're an unethical, immoral piece of shit for not believing this set of doctrines that we believe over here. Whatever the case is. Mm-hmm. You start cancel culture and you try to cancel anyone that seems like they may be on the other side of the fence. And what's weird is, and what people don't understand, is that there's so many different fences. You also on the other side of someone's fence. So at some point you're going to end up saying something and end up being the one that's now looked at crazy. Yeah. So that's what's kind of weird about that cancel culture shit. Anywho, you have this messianic complex. I want to save the world. I want to help people. I want to do this. And you get ahead of yourself because you don't know much. So you just run around, you regurgitate some ideas that you heard, on Twitter.
You don't know exactly what that means.
You don't know
what comes with that.
You don't know what comes with that. You don't know what that real stretch of work is life in order to actually execute that thing.
Right.
And so if you put something up on Twitter or you run around in the streets, you assume that you are doing the right thing. You assume that you're making a change. But what if, and this is not for me to shit on anybody doing any of these things, but what if you going back in your own house and trying to heal yourself from all the things that life and yourself have done to yourself, all the traumas that you've experienced, all the insecurities that you have, all the malfunctions of your system, your entire system, mentally, emotionally, physiologically, trying to rebuild these things and restructure them in a way that actually works in alignment. On the last episode, I talked to Rachel about something that's called subluxation, because she works again in a chiropractor's office as an assistant. And that's really just
she ain't cracking no backs.
She's not the one cracking the back. Not yet. She's a massage therapist, but she ain't doing the cracking the backs.
All right.
But subluxation, subluxation is when a vertebrae is sort of like out of place in your spine. And when that happens, your body starts to feel symptoms in other places, right? Like vertebrae may be out, and then now you have like pains in your knees or your stomach or something like that. You don't really know where that's coming from. You think you ate something wrong.
Probably had something to do with the nerves, right?
Exactly. Yeah. That's exactly what it is. It's your nervous system.
Yeah.
So you feel symptoms in all these other different places. And if you can talk to a chiropractor about the symptoms you're having, then they can pretty much tell you pretty well what vertebrae may be out of place and exactly what it is they need to do to fix you up so that you can get back on track. But I think it's that disalignment, not just in your spine, but in life in general, that kind of gets you off. And then you running around talking about a bunch of shit you don't quite necessarily know anything about.
Right.
And we're all that some of the time, some of us more than others. But if you came back in the house and you tried to find ways of healing yourself, then you would be making yourself better. You're looking at the man in the mirror, right?
Right.
The whomever in the mirror.
Right.
And it's not until you do that change really occurs. Change is a song by J. Cole, and it's on the For Your Eyes Only album. It might be my favorite song on there, but it's definitely up there. But I think it goes like the hook is something like something. Damn, I'm completely forgetting it now. I'm drawing a blank, but it's a change. So I'm like, I know you looking for a change. I know you looking for a change. Let the pen glide. So he's sort of talking to himself. Like, I know that you're trying to change the world. So let the pen glide. Like, write these words. Like, get it. Write these words just the way J. Cole can, so that when you rap this shit, you create change. Right? I know you looking for a change. Let the pen glide. But the only real change come from inside. But the only real change come from inside. Right? Like, so that's the hook to it.
Okay.
These songs are there for a reason. Like, people understand this intuitively. I can't just run around and scream at people and have them change their ways. It's not going down like that. I have to figure things out for myself. And it's only through me going back and healing myself that then other things around me flourish.
Right.
That's the only way that it actually happens. And unless you do that, it ain't working like that. Like, it's not really going down like that. So I love Kendrick talking about, I go months without a phone. Like, I just spend time by myself with my family, meditating, eating, doing regular stuff. And then I'll come back and I'll write some music and I'll drop this for y'all. But like, I'm not your savior. Savior, that song. Very first thing he says, Kendrick made you think about it, but he is not your savior.
Yeah.
Cole made you feel empowered, but he is not your savior. I think he said, Future told you to buy a money counter, but he is not your savior. Braun made you give him his flowers, but he is not your savior.
Yeah.
Stop. And J. Cole also, fittingly, has a song called False Prophets, where he's talking about the same thing. We are not your savior. We're not that. You have to find that within yourself. It's not until after you find that within yourself that things really start to change in your world. And if enough people do that, then enough people come outside to more pleasant things. That's the way it goes. I love what he did.
How you gonna win if you ain't right within?
One-liner, man. One-liner, man. One-liner, man. I want everyone that listens to this podcast to know, I want them to understand, if they haven't before, that you are one-liner man.
One-liner man.
Yes. If we're going to get you a hat or a cape or a shirt that says one-liner man. If they haven't caught on by now, you are one-liner man. You just come out with... Go ahead.
Are you trying to play me, or are the one-liners good? Are they relevant?
I mean... Yeah, it's been a little while since you just said like a one-liner that didn't have anything, because I talked to you about that a long time ago on it. But no, it's an observation.
Okay.
It's an observation. It means that there are a lot of times where I will speak for a long time because it just happens. Like I sort of ramble and I get the fucking hamster running on the cage on the wheel up there, and once that starts, just new ideas continue to pop and I just ride that fucking wave. And when I get done with it, which to me seems like a while, you'll hit me with a one-liner. Like, you'll hit me with one line and I'm like, wow, that's really funny. So that's just an observation, but you are one-liner man.
One-liner man.
You're one-liner man. That's I think for the most part, that's the gist of why I love this album. It was truthful. It's trustworthy. Like I trust in this stuff that he's talking about. Like, he's not bullshitting. He's telling you, I rubbed elbows with the people that's for the people. They all greedy. Right? Like, I'm not even with them. The people that act like they're your saviors. I'm not with them either. I'm not doing none of that.
I feel like everybody in some way has to relate to at least a piece of this album.
Yeah.
If you're a human being walking this earth, you have to relate to a piece of this album.
Yeah. Now again, I should say this as well too. On that last part of what was the song? It was Auntie's Diaries, I think, where he said that whole thing with his cousin Demarius, who turned Marianne. He thought about that concert where the white girl ran up on stage and had rapped and said the word nigga, and he didn't like it, and people didn't like it, whatever. And now the whole thing was, okay, well, you can say this word as long as you allow white girls to say nigga.
Right.
And so that's sort of the conclusion of it. Yeah. Now, I don't know if that's necessarily just like where he ends on that thought. Because here's the thing. Podcasting is very different than putting music out.
Right.
Because when you're a musician, you put some music out and you're not going to drop for another 5 years. So we didn't get to hear how Kendrick felt about this white girl up on stage until this album dropped.
Yeah.
Because he's not just giving you Instagram lives and all this sort of stuff. We don't know. Podcasting, we come on here and our thoughts are updating every week and we're talking about it.
Right.
So I don't know if that's just where he ends or if he's just saying this so that people think and so that people have a conversation about things, which is, again, don't tiptoe around the conversation. Just here's some content. I know it's going to start some conversation. I know people are going to have conversation after this. They have to.
Yeah.
So I don't know if he's just trying to put it in your mind so y'all have the conversation, or if that's truly how he feels at the end of that song. Because as I told you, the rebuttal to that would be, yeah, but that word faggot is not the word nigger.
Right.
To a lot of people.
Right.
That is, it's not substantiated the same way because it doesn't have the same culture behind it.
Same background.
It doesn't have the same legacy. Yeah, exactly. Behind it. So that would kind of be the rebuttal to that. Like, I get it. That is a pejorative term. I would never want people to use that in a derogatory sense towards other people to demean them or their people or anything like that.
But don't contradict yourself. But
yeah, we don't want to. It's rough. One, I don't know. I think it's rough to not contradict yourself in certain ways. That's another conversation that Rachel and I were having about being a hypocrite. I think in some ways you're just meant to be contradictory. Like, it's just going to happen being a human being.
Yeah.
But I also don't know if people look at those words. I know that some people do. They look at them as words similarly, like it's a bad word and you shouldn't say it to someone. Right. And on that basis, sure. But then there are just other variables that you have to also take into account which is weird, but trying to weigh the gravitas of certain words versus other words. Like, there's just other variables and factors that are in play. So it's all up for debate and it's all up for conversation, which I love, which is what I love about freedom of speech, is that we can all come together and have the conversation as to why it is or why it is not. I'm up for any conversation about it.
I love when Kendrick, I forgot what song it is, but he was like talking about cancel culture and he was like, I'm going to say what I want to y'all niggas.
Yeah. He said in order for y'all to have an opinion, it's got to be politically correct. I'm going to say what I want.
Yeah.
And he's going to.
Yeah.
And he's going to, and Kendrick's not going to be canceled.
No, he's not.
He's going to come out whenever he wants, and whenever he drops it, people are going to go listen to it. Because it's Kendrick. And bro, context matters.
It does.
Like it matters.
Yeah.
So when someone says something, it's like, what are they trying to get across? That's a lot of my love for conversation. It's the painting of the picture. Like, what are they trying to convey? Like, what is this person trying to let us know about their thought process or about their emotional processing about this thing? Like, what are they trying to let us know? And when we start to make wild citations for free, like speech, it gets weird. It gets really, really weird. And I think that people need to be open for discussions, as I've talked about a million times on here. But that shit is very, very necessary. We have to be able to open our mouths and say things to one another and continue to learn that way. Yeah.
And like we said about Joe Rogan, understand that certain avenues can lead to slippery slopes.
For sure.
But I'm all with, the context matters.
Yeah, because you don't need to die on every hill either.
No, you don't.
You don't need to fight all these battles.
You sure don't.
And just say things simply for the sake of what you think that freedom entails you to be entitled to. Right? Like you don't have to do that either.
Right.
So it's it's back and forth. But I'll tell you what, because this is where this gets us, because clearly with all these stipulations we're talking about, errors will be made.
Yeah.
That's one thing we can promise. Errors will be made. And so with that, what also needs to be said is people deserve second chances. People deserve, there needs to be a margin for error. Yeah. If we are going to if you can grant that there will be errors, then there has to be a margin for error as well. You can't just cut everybody off anytime they say something that you don't like.
Don't even say a word that start with the letter N.
Yeah. Yeah, like we can't do that.
Getting too close.
Yeah, no. We can't do that.
Yeah.
We can't do that. But I'm glad that we talked about this album. I couldn't wait to come in here and talk about this album. I probably listened to it I'd probably say like 5 times now.
I probably listened to it like 2 or 3. I was listening to it on the way here.
Yeah. I probably listened to it a good 5 times. But going back, just music in general, because again, I haven't been listening. But Theodore Wolgers that I was talking about. I think this is either Wolgers or Wolgers. Is TEODORWOLGERS. I forget where he came from, but he's a young guy. I want to say like early 20s or so.
Okay.
But he does this what's called classical crossover. Genres these days are crazy. There's just like so many different types. I don't know. But it sounds like classical music, but it clearly ain't like Bach and Beethoven and all that, right? It's like it's newer sounds. But I just love to listen to just instruments. Like I saw a video of this guy in the studio, and the lady and I were watching it, and I was like, yo, it was a music video, and I'll show it to you after this. It was so cool because it's just him in there. He's on the piano. And you have this guy playing a violin, and I think there's a guy on like a synth machine or something like that. And they're just in there just creating this beautiful music. It sort of sounds like I don't even know, like a winter night or something like that. Like snowflakes falling from the sky and and street lights on, and you're just walking down a long pathway of just snowflakes falling and street lights. Okay. Yeah, so that's what it sounds like to me.
All right.
And I'm listening to this and I'm watching this video, and these guys are just in the studio making this beautiful music. And I'm like, damn. It must be so cool sometimes to just make some stuff like outside of rap.
Yeah.
And I'll say that because, and not even just outside of rap, but outside of really just pop.
Just mainstream.
Yeah, just mainstream. But just even it could be country pop, R&B pop, rock pop, rap pop. It just all of that, because these guys make money doing what they love. It's beautiful music. You know, you're waking up in the morning just to go play beautiful instruments with a couple of guys, and you're just gonna come away with just music that takes you to a different realm. And like that's what you're gonna do today. That's how you're gonna go make your money. And that's it. You don't have blogs talking a bunch of shit about you. You don't got the shade room up your fucking ass talking about you and your relationship.
No, that's love.
Yeah, like you don't have people critiquing you, asking you like, oh, is he really the best, or is Drake beating him out because Drake did this? I heard so and so was in his DMs fucking his bitch. Like, you know what I mean? Like you don't have like a bunch of this stuff going on. You're just playing a piano.
Right.
Like, oh man, like that's so dope. The guy Benjamin Clementine that I talked to you about a long time ago. It's this black dude. I think he may reside in like the UK. He's got like wild cheekbones. He sort of looks like a vampire in a sense to me, just because he's like real handsome, like real large cheekbones, long face, black dude. Long, crazy, like afro-ish sort of hair, like an afro fade type of thing he got going on. Real like character.
Okay.
But he seems like he can be a modern day Dracula. Okay. Yeah, very, very weird character, but he's awesome piano pieces, great singer. And he has an NPR Tiny Desk thing, and I think people should go listen to. Benjamin Clementine. And
drop the link on him.
I might just throw that in the link. Yeah, why not? I might just throw that in the description. But him just going and just rocking NPR Tiny Desk or wherever venues that he goes and plays, knowing he can just go and do this, that's dope to me. Hell yeah. I love like a good sweet spot. Yeah. I'm not fucking with the super duper fame. Like, I like a good sweet spot where you just have like a little cult following. Like, these people love what you do.
I agree.
And will support you to the day you die if you just keep doing that thing.
I agree.
And you just get to live a normal life. You can go to the grocery store.
I could not agree more.
I know that shit sound good to you.
I cannot agree. I just give me the money. I don't want to be in the blogs. Yeah. I don't want nothing to do with that.
You want them jumping out the bushes, snapping photos of you?
I don't want none of that shit. None of it.
Yeah, that's why The Way I Am by Slim Shady was so good. I think was he Marshall Mathers at that point or Eminem? I don't know if he was Slim Shady, Marshall Mathers, or Eminem at that point. But The Way I Am was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he just talked about dudes like, I'm fucking sick of just like I can't take a shit without somebody standing by it. You knew I won't sign your autograph. You can call me an asshole. I'm glad because I am whatever you say I am. Like, I just don't want to do.
Smile in the courtroom. I buy you a wardrobe.
Oh, yeah. Because he said, I'll lift you. He's like, and if you offend me, I'm lifting you 10 feet.
Yeah. I was about to
off that in the air. I don't care who was there, who saw. Yeah. Like, I don't care about none of that shit. I sit back with this pack of zigzags in this bag of this weed. It gives me the shit needed to be the most mean SMC on this earth and this birth. I've been cursed with this curse that just blurt and berserk and just spurt this berserk. What do you say? I just birthed with this curse to just blurt this berserk and bizarre shit that works and it sells and it helps in itself and it should get crazy. Yeah. But that's a wild flow off the top. Just the rhyme scheme off the top is wild. But he gets into it, and I definitely feel that. Like, yo, just back the fuck up, let me live my life. Someone told me a story recently about Keke Palmer. Thank you, because I wasn't gonna get it. Thank you, Keke Palmer. What do we know her from?
I mean,
like, what's the original thing? Was it like? Did she do voice on Proud Family?
No, that was Kyla Pratt.
What did she do?
I mean, a lot of people know her from like Akilah and the Bee.
Akilah and the Bee, that was my thing.
She's been in a lot of stuff.
Yeah, since then. Yeah. Now she's sort of like just like a model, just a personality. They just call people personalities now. Public figure, a personality. And
she gets her little gigs and things. You know what I'm saying? A lot of stuff, appearances, things that you don't really hear about. You know what I'm saying?
How wild to just be like you do appearances. I'm gonna appear here. This week.
Yep.
I'm going to get paid to appear. Leave a couple hours in.
I watched her in a movie not that long ago with Samuel L. Jackson. It's called The Cleaner. Came out like 10 years ago.
Oh, really?
Never seen it before.
Oh, yeah. I don't know.
It's on Netflix right now.
Is it good?
Yeah, it's pretty good. Sam L.
Everything is snakes on a plane. Don't do that. We're not doing that. Don't just say Sam L. Like anything he does is just good. He plays in a bunch of stuff. So some of the stuff you see is going to be amazing, but there's some that fell through the cracks.
I'm pretty sure he's like the highest grossing actor like ever. He's been in so many damn movies.
I think it's because he said that he doesn't turn things down. Yeah. Like he tries to take as much as he possibly can because he experienced poverty and he never wants that again. So it's sort of like one of those things. Like I'm like, if it's work, I'm here to work. Yeah. Like give me that script. Yeah, I'm in it.
Yeah, to backtrack a little bit on music, I'm going to see The Roots on Sunday.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Questlove, Black Thought. It's gonna be great.
That's very cool. Yeah. Is there anyone else a part of? I don't know.
I don't know everybody else's names. I just know Questlove and Black Thought.
Then the rest it's are just like musicians. They're just,
it's a band. Yeah, but Questlove's the drummer. Black Thought is one of the main vocalists.
Prolific rapper.
Yeah. Going to see them on Sunday at the Kennedy Center. Very excited.
So this Keke Palmer, I heard that she was relatively recent, I want to say just last 3-4 months, let's just say that, was accosted by one of these fans and they were just looking for some photos. And Keke was maybe just fucking, I don't know, eating a slice of pie and having some coffee. I don't know exactly what she was doing, but she was doing something. And she just wanted to do that thing instead of take photos. And I think this person kind of blew up and made a big deal of it. And then people made a big deal of it online. Like, you wouldn't be anything without your fans. What's wrong with you? How dare you? We've seen this play out many times. How dare you not take a photo or sign an autograph or do whatever it is people want you to do? Do the fucking hokey pokey with them. Whatever it is they request you to do, why don't you do it? You'd be nowhere without them. Now, where do you fall on that? Just with that said, before I get anything else, like, where do you fall?
To a certain extent, that's right, because if you didn't have fans, you wouldn't be where you're at, but that doesn't mean you don't deserve privacy.
Okay. All right. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'm glad we can already see
that doesn't mean you can just run up on me anytime you want to and do whatever and make me do whatever you want me to do. That's not what that means. You got the game fucked up.
And make me do whatever you want me to do. Yeah, exactly.
Keke, stand on your hands right now. Stand on your hands. If you don't fucking stand on your hands, I will ruin your life.
Exactly.
Like,
dance, monkey, dance.
Yeah, you better do a fucking backflip.
Yeah, exactly. Like, so weird stuff. I think you're right. I need to respect the people that give me money, give me their time. Certainly. My thing with that is
because it's not like it's not as if Keke or anyone else maybe, and I could be wrong, but didn't want what it is. Like, and when I say didn't want, I don't mean all the paparazzi bullshit, but like these people, like, they wanted to be actors, they wanted to be models, they, you know what I'm saying, they had aspired. You didn't just most people don't fall into this shit on accident. You know what I'm saying?
So this is you signed up for this type of thing?
A little bit, but I don't want to be negative when I say that. But like, ultimately, everyone knows what comes with that level of stardom.
Right.
You know what comes with that.
Yeah, for sure. And so my thing is, as long as I'm being, honestly, it's just about respect. We talked about this when we had Julia on here. It's, if you're going to try to proposition a woman, whether it be at the gym or not, because that was the context of that conversation, as long as you go there respectfully, there really shouldn't be an issue. Right. Like, I shouldn't be like, oh, leave me alone, you nasty creep. Like, if I come with you respectfully and just say, hey, I'd like to take you out for dinner if that's possible. If not, that's completely fine. Like, I saw you and I thought you were attractive and I thought I'd go out and at least try, because I knew I'd beat myself up if I didn't. Right. If you just said something that was truthful and it's not too crazy, it's not too wildly forward, just, okay, it's respectful. As soon as she says no, okay, well, I'll tell you what, enjoy your day. Like, thank you for the time that you did give me. Enjoy your day. You go on about your thing. That's a respectful encounter. So there shouldn't be anything wild about that. I shouldn't be upset with her for saying no, because she can say no, right? And I feel like, shouldn't take it so difficult or so hard because a man found me attractive and wanted to speak to me, right? Like that is a normal encounter and a respectful encounter. It gets weird when you're not respecting people's space and you try to linger a little too long after someone told you no once or twice or whatever the case is, or someone threw a drink in your face because you said something to them. What?
Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you.
That's okay. I'll put a bookmark in Keke Palmer.
So something like that kind of happened yesterday.
To you?
Yeah.
Oh.
Not to no wild, crazy extent, but so I'm this gentleman comes into my job. You know, he wants to rent a unit for some woman that he's seeing or his friend or whatever. So he rents the unit. He comes back with her. And so, I'm sorry, he rents 2 units. He tells me he has a lock for one of the units. He comes back with the woman. I take them upstairs to see the units, right? And so, I'm asking her, I'm like, yeah, are you going to need to purchase a lock for the other unit? Because he told me that she only had one. And she's like, oh no, I guess we're going to need another lock. Like you can give me one, right? And I'm like, we're kind of, we're running low on locks right now. I'm waiting for new ones to come in. If we had more, I might be able to do that. And she's like, oh, well, I saw the ones in your office. Like you can probably just give me one of those, right? And I'm like, no, like I can't do that because like I said, I'm running low on locks. And then she just for a third time looks at me and says, you could give me one. And I look at her and I say, no. And she shut the fuck up. It's like respect. Like, did you not just hear what the fuck I said?
Right. So if you so every unit purchased, you give a lock. They're supposed to get their own lock.
They can get their own lock, or they can purchase one from us.
Right.
If to give someone incentive to rent with us today, sometimes we'll give them a free lock. But as I said to her twice, we're running low on locks, so I can't just be giving these away.
That's
for funny. You to ask me that a third time, and now I got to get a little aggressive. I literally looked at her and I was like, I did the head thing and everything. I was like, no.
Talk to her like she was a child.
Yeah. Respect what I just said.
You know what? Let me stop with all the decorations around it.
Yeah, I'm trying to be nice.
No.
Yeah, straight up.
Yeah, that's kind of
so. Yeah, that just reminded me of that.
And so my point is, if the person comes up respectfully to Keke Palmer or any celebrity, and they're just like, hey, I love everything you've ever done. Like I watch everything you do. Like I've been supporting you from day one, whatever. Is there any way we could get a photo together? Like this would mean a lot to me. And it's like, so that's respectful so far.
Yeah.
Right. And maybe in going about it that way is probably a good way of going about it, because it ups your chance of probably being able to get that photo. Now, Keke Palmer, just like the woman or whoever is being proposed by whatever stranger out and about, right, on a romantic level, still has autonomy, and they still have their prerogative. They can say no still to a respectful request still. And if she decides to, which she did, because she wants to just do whatever she's doing and maybe not do that, which then alerts other people that she's someone famous and now has a line of people that want photos, because that's a possibility. I'm certain that happens all the time. She says no. And if she says no respectfully, then that can still be a respectful encounter between two human beings. As long as the other person then leaves. Says, okay, well, thank you so much for your time. I still support everything you do. Have a nice day. And leaves. That's respectful. As long as that's the thing, then I think it's all good. It's when someone gets nasty on either side that it's nasty now. Also, this point, as a celebrity, I don't need the person that is willing to jump ship because I don't want to be your little monkey.
Yeah.
That's another point. A third point, and this is really big, and I don't know if people really think about this. You say you love everything I do, right? I'm a musician. I'm an artist of any sort. I create things. You consume the things. You feel better about consuming the things that I produce. What is it that you think that I need in order to produce the things that you love? What is it that you think that I need? Because let me tell you what some of it is. A lot of it is peace of fucking mind. So are you willing to take, how much do you really love the stuff that I do? Because if you take this the way that you're taking this and you start some fucking brigade on Twitter coming after me about this, what are you really saying about the stuff that I do? Am I really just a zoo animal to you? Or do you actually love the things that I do? Do you really care about me and what I produce? Or do you just want me to do and dance the way that you would like me to? Because what you're doing, this mutiny that you're fusing together on Twitter against me, that is taking away from my peace of mind. Mm-hmm. That is taking away from what you say you love from me,
right?
Which is my art and my appearances. Because maybe now I don't want to do it because now I'm sort of paranoid about the weirdos out here. Mm-hmm. So that's another point that people ought to think about when they think about running up on their top celebrities or whoever it is they see out there they want to get a photo with or whatever the case is. Yeah. It's a weird world out there.
Yeah, sure is.
Yeah, so that's what I thought about.
Too many weirdos.
And just lastly, because all of this, by the way, has all spawned from Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. Shout out to Kendrick. Like this is all conversation that is spawned from us talking about in the main line of this conversation being this album.
Yeah.
It just starts conversations.
It does.
I love this album.
There's a lot to talk about.
There's so much more. We could go on and on, but I love this album. I love what he did, what he does, and it's so great too because when The Heart Part 5 came out on YouTube and everyone was watching his face shaping the, OJ to Kanye to Will Smith to Jussie Smollett to Nipsey, Kobe, all these different people, and he's rapping, top tier rapping, but all this sort of stuff is going on. You got this jazzy, funky beat in the background, and his hair is out, and it's just him in a white tee with a black bandana, and he's rapping all this sort of stuff. And as he's rapping, and these different faces are morphing in the screen. By the way, that technology is amazing,
isn't it?
Insane. And I don't know if he's got to pay these people or not. Like if you can just start taking people's faces and doing what you want, or
I'm certain
you got to throw a check to all these people.
You have to. Unless they tell you that you can do it for free, you have to get the permission.
Which is wild because the things he's saying aren't necessarily flattering things about these people because he's calling out what culture is, what we call culture, and how we empower culture, how we lift up culture, but how culture ain't always what it's cracked up to be.
Unless there's some sort of legal loophole, I'm certain he had to at least get the permission. Yeah. If not, slide them a check.
Yeah, I'd love to know how that goes. But I love what he did there. And what's funny is as I was looking at it, I'm like, sometimes there are certain people that come out here and do something, and the other people that are quote unquote doing the same thing, they ain't doing the same thing.
Right.
Like some people come out with a video or album or something, and it's like, this ain't even rap. Like this ain't even like y'all. The rest of y'all aren't even doing this. Like y'all can't even. This transcends rap. This ain't even that. Like y'all can't even do this. And I love when I see that every now and again. Like somebody just pops out and puts something out, any medium of art, and they just put something out, and it's like, oh yeah, the rest of y'all ain't doing this.
Yeah. Like
we forget every now and again, but like the rest of y'all are just not competing at this level.
Yeah.
You're just not.
Nah.
So I love it all. So that's what I have to say on all of that. I'm done with Kendrick and Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers for this episode. I've said everything I need to say and all my different thoughts and all my theories and all my threads tied to it for now.
All right.
For now, because I will continue to listen to it and something else may pop up that I want to come back and touch on. But that's what I got as far as all that goes. Is there anything else at all that you would like to speak about, young sir? Today?
Nah, man. We just had a great conversation about a lot of things that, from the album to outside the album. Anything I got to say, I don't want to follow it up with that.
Understood. Yeah, for sure.
We could save some other shit for another day.
I feel you on that.
Yeah.
You have any last words for the people?
I'm a new Kendrick fan. Took me a long time to get here. But I'm definitely a new Kendrick fan. I think I'll go back and listen to some of his earlier stuff. And see if I can, listen to it and kind of grasp some of the same feelings and emotions and thoughts that I did from Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers.
Awesome. All I have to say is, whatever you do, put your heart in it. Episode 117, 118, this will be 118. Whoop-de-whoop, we flying through them.